So your old buddy Troy is down in the depths of Brooklyn today, in an area that may be known as Ditmas Park, or may be known as Flatbush. It's unclear, but we're meeting with Mr. Matthew Capodicasa, as this is his new hood, to talk about his character. And we're at a little rustic cocktail and wine bar called the Castello Plan. So you know the only reason I would ever hang out with you outside of work is to create content.
Yeah, I mean, we make pretty good content.
We do, so we should do it more often.
We should do it more often.
But I don't want to actually fraternize.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
Speaking of which, let's get some alcohol.
We need some help.
I always say that I don't like Brooklyn, and it's not completely true, but it's a little true. And the reason is, you drop me in Manhattan, anywhere, I know where I am. I could be in Battery Park, I could be way deep into Harlem, I know where I am. You drop me in Queens, I lived in Queens for 15 years, I know where I am. You drop me in Brooklyn, I have no idea where I am or how to get out of here, and that's all I'm concerned about.
The streets are numbered. I mean, not right here, but a little bit over, they're numbered.
Is there a grid?
Sort of. There are grids. There are grid elements.
Why did you choose to move here?
I mean, it's a great location, also space, price, affordability. And we're on an express line, so we're pretty deep into Brooklyn, but we can get to the city very quickly.
How fast can you get to Times Square, where I know you like to spend most of your time?
I like to just hang out on 22nd Street when I'm not here.
You're one of those Spider-Man performers.
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Pretty much, we always used to joke that like anywhere you want to go, whether it's 2 blocks away or in another borough, is 45 minutes in New York. So where are we today? What is this place?
We are in Ditmas Park, which is, I don't actually understand it. Is it part of Flatbush? Is it next to Flatbush? I don't know, but we're in Ditmas Park.
When I looked on MapQuest, on the wild goose chase to get here.
What is this, 2003?
But Google Maps, I guess? I call everything MapQuest. I printed out directions for my drive
I used to
over
do that
here.
when I was in high school.
It says Flatbush, and it looks like it's between Flatbush and Kensington.
Yeah.
And there's a nearby CVS, which is good as well.
There are nearby CVS's.
Let's talk. We haven't really talked much about your character other than like a quick little meeting that we had so everyone could pick their classes and ancestries.
It's true.
Let's start there. What are you playing?
I'm going to play an investigator.
Investigator.
Yes. Despite Joe's last minute attempts to thwart everything I had planned.
He wanted it so bad.
But like, he didn't want it so bad until that meeting.
Right.
It was so confusing.
He's like a jilted
confusing man.
lover. Like he just wants something that someone else wants.
He literally, I think, was like, you gotta play, like the two of you were like, you gotta play an investigator. It's so cool. And 2 you get all these things. You should do it. And then the meeting, Joe's like, are you married to an investigator? Yes, so I'm playing investigator.
And what ancestry? Oh, secret.
Human?
Sounds like must be an angel. What are those things called? And
Asmar?
Asmar, yeah. Okay.
For us, it was an Asmar.
Yeah, you like a fun ancestry, so I can imagine it's going to be a human as far as we know.
As far as you know.
Why investigator?
I mean, it just felt like it fit the AP really well.
Sure.
And I got to play an investigator a little bit with Mrs. O'Lady, but I never really got to investigate. We had that one library session after we killed Jenny Two Tails, or we saved Jenny Two Tails. What did we do?
You saved her, and then she died.
You saved her, and she died.
Tiny murder club.
Yes.
She never learned to read.
She never got to read, but we had that one library session, but we never really got to do investigating.
Yeah.
And I feel like the 2E investigator has some really cool. I mean, I'm a little worried about it because it's subject to a lot of GM discretion.
Right. Which I discourage.
Which you discourage. But I mean, there's the one ability that you had talked up so much is the ability to kind of pre-roll your first attack.
Yeah, what is that called? Devise a strategy?
Devise a strategy.
Yeah.
So you can go, you roll a d20, if you're like, all right, I think that'll hit, then you go ahead and do the attack and you use that roll and you can use your intelligence bonus instead of your strength modifier.
Are they going to be a martial character, more of a caster? Do they have casting abilities?
They have, most likely, I'm going to go the route that has a little bit of an alchemist flavor. It's not an alchemist replacement by any means at all, but it gives them a little bit of flexibility for boosts and buffs and that kind of thing.
Do you make it like mutagens and?
You have, I don't think it's mutagen. I think you can only do.
What are the other things?
What are the other ones? The one.
Tinctures?
Yes, I think so.
I think I just made that up.
I think you made it up. It sounded great.
Just call them tinctures.
Tinctures. That's what my character will call them.
We need to rebrand everything. That's exciting. Was there now? Obviously, I think it's arguably the best class to play for this particular AP.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know about the AP, was there something else that drew you to this, or was it more like, no, this is a paranormal investigator. I want to build an investigator.
I mean, it was definitely the AP that informed it. Also, like, I think either in the player's guide or you talked about it, like there's an X-Files feel. I mean, I grew up on X-Files, so there's definitely that. And I was like, oh, that feels right. And then I was just talking to you before we started shooting about the character Sage in X-Men, but she's a living computer. But she also is like that kind of like very knowledgeable, highly rational mind being applied to paranormal situations. It's just fun.
Let me put you on the spot here. If there was an actor that you had in mind that sort of inspired where you might go with this role-playing wise, who would that be?
I have no idea.
I mean, we did this to you in episode 1 of the Glass Cat
I know,
podcast.
and I didn't even know you did that.
And you never, I don't think you ever quite cast them.
No.
I'm not committing you to a casting, but is there people that you're thinking about, like just to give us an idea of what this person might look or feel like?
I mean, I guess I could go this way. I don't know this is the way I want to ultimately go, but did you ever watch Penny Dreadful?
No.
I only watched the first season, which is great. But Eva Green plays this character who's kind of a paranormal investigator.
Okay.
Not the character at all, but that kind of like Victorian.
I'll have to Google her because I can't picture.
She's
Eva Green.
Vesper in Casino Royale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd never seen her before Casino Royale. I figured she died.
No, she's quite alive.
And never acted again. I only watch Hallmark movies, so.
That's not really her vibe.
But she's missing out. A lot of people are making.
I mean, maybe she'd be great.
I think she'd be wonderful. I'll make some phone calls. All right, so you're going to be investigator, human as far as we know. What's your process normally like when it comes to creating a character? Do you like to write a 10-page backstory? Do you just write little snippets and then fill in the rest along the way? Do you have a certain way that you like to do it?
I tried a little bit of a new process this time. One major feature of that was sending you a lengthy email, which you ignored. Which I guess became part of the process.
It's a good exercise for you, and you're welcome.
No, so I did do something different. Like I kind of applied the way I would approach writing something else, where I just kind of sat with a notebook and I was like talking to myself for a while about it. And I was like, oh, this would be a fun way to go. So maybe I'll go this way. Oh, but this might be, and then that was both mechanical and backstory. So I didn't like write a backstory, but I had like a conversation with myself on paper for a few days. And then at that point, I think I had decided either investigator or another class that I won't say.
Well, this is interesting. So is this what you do when you write scripts? You get into the mind of these characters by like having a conversation with yourself about each individual character?
Yeah, it's more about choices, right? It's like, okay, well let's run this one down. So if I'm like, okay, investigator, but investigator only after the missing moment. So then I was like, okay, well then what's the most interesting, like what are like real interesting ways that she could have come to the missing moment that this would be a major change for her? And I started like running down possibilities and like, okay, well if that's true, then maybe this is true, which then allows this to be true. Oh, but no, but that's going to conflict with this other thing that I really do want to do. This is kind of like working things out. It's like having another person in your head. It's useful.
Do you journal like in their voice, like dear diary?
I don't.
Today I had a ham sandwich.
Today I had 3 ham sandwiches. No, I don't. I will sometimes write snippets of dialogue if it's a dialogue thing, but this isn't that.
Interesting.
Because this AP sets you up in such a way that we don't really want to know backstory, right? Like it's because that moment in time has changed everything. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you guys jump into it because while there are so many similarities to things we've done, it's so wildly different. But I can't like talk about it until you get into it. One thing that I am interested in, and we talked about this off air with the group, is like. An interesting part of this adventure path is you really, all the players, all the characters can be from anywhere in the world. And so you can be from anywhere in Galarian, but one thing that we want to do is choose that area, but then make up a town that is your own, that isn't from Paizo's IP, similar to what we did with Highbury in Giant Slayer. Do you know, like, if you don't know the town, do you know what area of Galarian your character might be from? I mean,
we just mentioned Ustalav. I thought about Ustalav. Just like, it's a fun. We played there before.
You know it, yeah.
We know it. It's going to be kind of like a minor castle, like that governs a town. Like she's going to be from there.
Like a Thrushmoor.
Like a Thrushmoor. Yeah, it's going to be like a kind of a distant duchy, probably not a duchy, but a county or something that's. I think this character has led a very insular life, and that the one thing, the major change for her is when the missing moment happened, actually she left home. Like she left home and hasn't gone back.
Oh, interesting.
Reasons that we'll get into. But like I think she's now out in the world really for the first time in her life. And has like actually in the time between the missing moment and now has actually adapted by like diving headlong into this investigation and becoming an investigator. So I picture her kind of like if we were to use the X-Files as kind of a spectrum, like more Mulder than Scully, and that like yes, this is personal for her, and yes, like she's extremely well read and well studied on the area, but also like wants to like enjoy things, like is like into having a good time and making jokes and like work hard, play hard kind of a little bit. Like she hasn't gotten to experience the world, and now she's like had this kind of revelatory, traumatic experience. And now she's like, no, I'm going to experience the world.
How old is this character?
20s.
20s, okay, so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at first level, you're a first level investigator, but like, what did she do beforehand that was of investigative nature? Because if she was a good investigator, she'd be starting at 10th level.
Right. No, she's a first level investigator.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, she was in Insular Life trying to figure out how much I want to reveal. I think didn't get to explore the world very much. But was extremely well read. Mm-hmm. Like didn't set foot out of the library much, but that was really all she could do.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the why of that. But so she knows she has a lot of. Empirical knowledge. She's not going to be an empiricist, which is the way you can go. But she has a lot of empirical knowledge, but only, how much time is this the missing moment? Months, right?
I always forget if it's like months or a year. Yeah.
But like she has that much real world experience, but a lot of book knowledge.
Interesting. So she wasn't in college to study to be an investigator.
No.
Oh, wow, I got a chance to be an investigator. She was just doing her thing. She was a knowledgeable person and kind of fell into this.
Yeah. Well, we can get into Ritalson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're following this guy. We're all working for this guy at the beginning of the AP. This is all on the player's guide.
Right, it's all very knowledgeable. Yeah.
So I imagined her as like he went out and sought out these people who had been Gatewalkers, and she kind of apprenticed herself to him to be his protege, and has learned from him.
Yeah.
And is trying to kind of. I mean, he is something she could. I don't really know a lot of his personality. You said he's kind of intense.
Yeah, he's an intense dude. Well, it's like everyone went through this shared experience, himself included, and he was the person who was like, we need to gather these people together and figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But he's just a very intense dude, and enough so that all these people have kind of rallied to his banner because they want to know too what happened.
I think she's like, this is an authority figure or an adult figure that I can cling to because he wants to give me what I need, which is the understanding of what happened. We have to pick the
campaign trait.
The campaign trait. Joe. He'd be like, "What's everyone feeling about campaign traits?" And he read all of them through, and like two of us had picked the one he wanted,
and you can't pick the same one as Joe.
No. He was like missing loved one is the one I wanted,
right.
And he was like, What's attractive to you about this campaign trait? And I'm like, the missing loved one. He's like, oh, you're into the story of it?
He's like, well, if you do it, then I can't do it. Right. He's like, because mine would make it so that no one else could choose.
So I'm doing something else.
So you just count to it. You're like, I'm not gonna.
He was like, well, I can use this mechanic. It's like the classic Joe thing where he like seizes onto a mechanic, and the one way he can use it if like all the stars align.
Right. It will never happen.
Or it will happen once and he'll roll a natural one. So it's just setting himself up for misery.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, you go for it. I'll do something else.
So you do what are you doing? Do you know?
I think there's a Wanderlust one. That one.
Oh yeah.
Which would fit anyway. And it fit into the story anyway. I think I'm also going to have a missing loved one. It just won't be mechanical. It won't have a mechanical effect.
Right. Well, that's the tricky thing is you're going to find these campaign traits that also help your class, unless you want to just do what you want and be like, who gives it?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this as sort of a wrap up. If there's something to get people excited about your character, what do you think it is? Why is this character going to be everyone's favorite?
I think she is extremely serious and extremely no nonsense, and the life of the fucking party once like the day is done.
Just like you.
Just like me.
You're playing yourself.
I'm playing. I only play versions of myself.
That's all you know.